Hey you guys, today is part 5 of Ancient China, the Terracotta Warriors. As usual, I have to give credit where credit is due. Newsweek, Smithsonian, ChinaDiscovery.com, news.artnet.com, Cincinnati Art Museum, and Sculpture Solutions. So in 1974, a couple of farmers were out on their land in China and they were going to dig a well. And as you know, wells are kind of deep because they're trying to reach water. And they kept coming across these pieces of pottery that they thought were pretty interesting. And then they came across a really interesting piece of pottery shaped like a human head. Where the farmer's land was where Emperor Qin Shi Huang's capital of Shenyang once had been. Where they are now is just outside of the big city of Xi'an. Anyway, over time, archaeologists began to excavate this site. It is over 22 square miles. They have found over 600 pits with over 8,000 terracotta soldiers, 130 chariots, 520 horses to go with those chariots, another 150 horses for the cavalry, copper weapons, shields, bows, boxes of other weapons. Here is a bunch of pictures. The army of the Terracotta Warriors was created to accompany Emperor Qin into the afterlife. And the pits that they are still in once had wooden walls and a wooden roof. But as you know, wood decomposes over time, and as the wood decomposed, the earth would kind of fall in on them. So the pristine lines of soldiers that you see in those pictures is not how they originally looked. When they were first found, they were reset up to recreate the way they first had been placed into those pits. As they studied, scientists discovered that the figures were made from what was called yellow earth, which is what we call terracotta clay, or a type of terracotta clay anyway. Yellow earth is a naturally occurring clay that was really easy to find in that area, and there was an abundant resource of that clay. So they would clean up the clay, and then they would add other minerals to it to fortify it, ding ding, fortify it to make it strong. And since they are over 2,200 years old, I'd say they did a really good job. It seems that all the terracotta soldiers were individually made by over 700,000 workers working for 39 years. Each figure is made to look like a specific person. They think maybe that's true. They're not entirely sure if that's true. They are very distinctive and individual. Scientists do know that the sculptors used molds, where you can press it into something and get an image out, and hand sculpting as well. Originally, the soldiers were painted, and we'll talk more about that in your next assignment. And the different color paints that were used indicated different ranks of the soldiers, different jobs that they had. Not only did they have different uniforms, but they carried different weapons and tools. They even had different hairstyles to indicate the person that they were to represent. The paint that was used is a type of tempera paint, similar to the stuff you used in elementary school. This tempera paint was created with egg and something else they can't figure out what that other ingredient is. And the colors that are added to that base come from organic and inorganic materials. And again, we'll talk more about that later. They created very bright and vibrant colors. Now, I'm sure Emperor Qin wasn't intending that creating this huge, amazing army was what he was going to be remembered for. But you also have to remember that making this army get created was a huge show of power on his part. And he wasn't the only one. Emperor Han also had a similar army. Now, you'll notice Emperor Han's army was in miniature, and they had no arms. And the reason that they have no arms is because they think that Emperor Han's figures once had wooden arms, and as we've discussed, wood decomposes over time. And that's what I have for the Terra-cotta army. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this makes you seek out more information about the Terra-cotta army. You're going to be doing a little assignment about the Terra-cotta army coming up, if you haven't already. All right, you guys, be good. Talk to you later. Bye.